Hey, Steve Jolly here with Benchmark Realty and the Music City Show. I want to thank you for tuning in today. We have a great show lined up for you. In fact, we're going to talk about how the meaning of home has changed, how psychologically we think about it is different than we used to, and how you can benefit from that. We're also going to be taking a look at Nashville prices. Are they holding up? If they're holding up, we're going to find out soon. And then we're going to dive into the market update for this week and see how the market in general is doing. All right, so let's jump in. Why the home is different and why the home means different to us now than it used to. It has a different meaning. When people bought a home in the past, it was more about fulfilling a luxury need, fulfilling a social need, a place to um, raise your family, that's nice, a place where you can gather and entertain your friends and family. It also had a lot to do with ego needs like self esteem and status and recognition. That's what was really the main driver of purchasing a home. I think a lot of that's changed, and it's going to change even more going forward. And it's going to be more about safety and security. And that brings us to Maslow and his hierarchy of needs. You probably remember that from Psych 101 back in college or high school. But Maslow developed a hierarchy of needs, or a pyramid of needs. And the ego needs, the recognition needs, the social needs are much higher than safety and security. So what does that mean? Well, one thing that Maslow taught us was that these lower level needs, um, when they're not fulfilled, cause a lot more psychological and emotional and even physical trauma in our lives. And that emotional trauma is a huge driver for us to change something for the better. And so I think for people that don't have a home, or they're living somewhere where they don't necessarily feel safe right now, I think that's going to be a huge driver for them to move and to buy something that feels more safe and secure for them and their family. The biggest problem is that we don't have the supply to meet the current demand, let alone the demand that's going to come out of this crisis. So we need more homes than it's listed on the market. The builders aren't going to be able to close the gap in the next maybe 5 or 10 years. It may take them to close that gap. So we're going to be in a out of supply and demand in the market for some time, at least in the Nashville area. So what that means is homeowners are going to be in the driver's seat. I expect prices to continue to increase as long as we can get back to work safely, and that's what I expect to happen. But there's also going to be some long-term trends that come out of this, and some long-term changes in the type of homes that we buy and where we buy them and why we buy them. And I'm going to fill you more in about those changes next week so you can position yourself to come out on top of these market shifts. Let's dive into the prices right now, because prices are one thing that's on everybody's mind. So far for the month of May, we are seeing the highest median price over the last year. It's a little over 317,000. Now, keep in mind that that's only 1/3 of the listings that'll be or closings that'll be entered for the month. So I expect that number will change going forward, but I don't expect it to change a lot. So you can see over the last year, prices have been pretty flat. Although the last 3 months we are seeing some improvement, because those last 3 months are higher than or equal to or higher than any other month throughout the rest of the year. So prices, like I said a minute ago, I don't expect them to decline as long as we can get back to work safely. Can't get back to work safely, I don't think anybody really knows what's going to happen, but that's what I expect to happen. I expect us to get back to work safely. So let's dive into the market update for the week. So let's look at weekly sales. Weekly sales over the past few months have been relatively flat. We see the peaks at the end of every month like we normally do, but if you looked at a trend that eliminated those peaks, you'll see it'll be pretty flat. We are 32% down from where we were the same week last year. However, listings get entered into the MLS late, so I expect us to close the gap, because we saw similar gaps back in March and April that we were able to. I don't think we'll close it all the way, but I think we'll get much closer to to the number of sales this week as we did last year as time goes on. New listings. This is my biggest concern right here. Last year we were down about 10% from the previous year as far as inventory. This year we're down about 13%. Although it is improving the last couple of weeks, new listings, we still don't have enough to meet the current demand. And I think if anything that's going to cause prices to rise, it's going to be new listings. And if anything's going to slow down our housing market recovery and the general economy recovery, it's just going to be because there's not enough listings. The housing market drives 25% of the GDP across the nation, and maybe even more here in Nashville. So we need a strong housing market to pull us out of any recession that we end up in. So if you're thinking about selling and concerned about safety, security, finding a place to move to, give us a call. We'll help you through that. We'll at least explain what we've been doing to help other clients and see if we can work out a plan that fits your needs. Showings are one of the areas where we can show the strong demand is out there. We are on a 5-week upward trend. And in fact, this week was slightly over the same week last year. Now we expect to be moving up as we close in on the peak of the year, which typically is in June and July. But I give a lot of kudos out to my fellow realtors who have been using technology to close the gap back in March and April, doing things like virtual open houses and virtual showings to help keep the housing market on track. But now as they stay-at-home orders are being eased and lifted, I think we'll see more showings in the market. And that's just one indication that even in this crazy times that we're in, people still want to buy homes. And here's even more proof of that. Homes under contract. We are again on a 5-week upward trend. And this week we are 19% higher than we were the same week last year. Now, not all these homes are going to close. Some of them will fall out. And so these I don't expect to end up 19% over last year, but we're not going to have that many homes fall out. It's a small percentage of homes that don't close or that go back to active. So I still expect that when this all washes out over the next few weeks, that we'll still see a strong demand for homes under contract, and it'll still be higher than we were last year. So that's good news. Speaking of prices and concerns about prices, if you're concerned about the value of your home and you want to know what your home is worth right now, go to my site, Nashville Prices, enter in your address, and click Find Out, and you'll get to up to two instant automated values for your home. And then if you want, I'll create a custom price opinion for your home that's based on the unique characteristics of your home, the great parts of it that other people love, and I'll create that for you. It'll be more accurate than these automated values, and it'll give you a clear idea of what your home is worth in the market today. All you have to do is go to NashvillePrices.com, enter your information, and I'll take care of the rest. And lastly, I want to talk about preview for what's coming up next week. Now, the real estate market is changing rapidly, but not in the way that you think or in the way that most people think. Most people think that prices are going to drop, the housing market is going to crash. And I don't think so, especially if we can all get back to work safely. And so, but I do think there is going to be some huge changes in the market in how you buy a home and where you buy a home and why you buy a home. And these mega trends, these monster-sized trends, you need to know about so you can learn to navigate this market and come out on top, especially 10 years from now, 20 years from now. Things are going to change. And I'll be talking more about those changes and how to position yourself next week on the Music City Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate your loyalty. We are so glad to have you. If you have any questions or concerns, leave them in the comments below. Give me a call, text me, call me, 615-257-9996. I'd love to hear from you. Take care and have an awesome day. Peace and love, y'all.